Now, what I want to share with you in this particular video is kind of my experience of my life so you can understand who I am. It goes back a long way. Obviously, I'm quite old now, so going right back to my formative years is where I get a lot of rapport when I'm talking to people, especially when it comes to people that I'm coaching relating to bullying. When you're bullied as a child, it can have a huge effect on your sense of confidence and how you approach life all the way through it. It's a massive hit on you. When I was, when I was about 12, 13, I wasn't exactly having a good time at school, and I remember being picked on by this guy in the second year, and it went on for 4 years. He was probably about two years ahead of me, so he was much bigger and much stronger. I had no way of defending myself against his gang, and I just had to sort of like play a silent game, like bunny in the headlights. I'm not really going to move. Maybe someone's not going to hit me, kind of thing. And really, it worked. And I employed avoidance tactics, a bit like a terrorist. Like you've got the main army there, and you're going to avoid them. And I'd go in these long journeys around the school to avoid him, and it was every night because I knew that he'd be standing at the school gate, so I had to go all the way around to the other gate that he wasn't standing at, because I knew that he'd see me a mile away and I'd get picked on. And what it does to you inside is incredible. You can't talk to anybody about it because it's so embarrassing. And you feel that, why me? And you can't talk to your parents about it. And you start to go introvert. You go into a shell. And in that shell is a self-defensive shell. And you find that affects you. I mean, after he left school, and I was in the fifth year, I think I must have been about, 15, 16 at the time, suddenly, freedom. I wasn't watching over my shoulder every time I walked out of a corridor between classes. I wasn't watching, on the way home and on the way to school. This kind of oppression, and why people do it to other people, it's a way of stealing energy from us, and people do it in adult life just as much as they do it in school life. It's not the fact that sometimes the one that was bullied turns out to be the bully in an employment place. They start to they've been shown that behavioural pattern, and in their subconscious they start to play it out. A lot of the time when you watch behaviour of people, it is all subconscious. It's not them thinking about it or analysing repercussions of what they're doing to someone, how they're hurting someone. It's about what they're getting out of it. They get a certain pleasure out of it. I guess it's a bit like a cat playing with a moth. The cat gets a certain amount of pleasure from putting the paw on the moth and then letting it go, and putting the paw on it and letting it go. So when it's amazing when I'm doing coaching how I can find people, and there's this kind of bullying, and it might have been from a sibling, and it might have been from a parent, and it could have been from someone from school like me. And it is energy theft. And I want you to address this in your own mind and start to see the world as a place where energy is either coming to you or away from you. And you probably experience this when you sit down with someone, or you go to a party and someone talks to you, and after a few minutes you go, Jesus, I'm flat. I need a drink, and you need to get away from this person because they're sucking the energy out of you. Even for me, when I go somewhere, I can find that, I'm instinctively receptive to it. So I know these people want to suck the energy out of them. You've got to have certain barriers. Once you know it's there, you can deal with it. It's not a problem. But when they're dealing with people on a subconscious basis, they're not thinking about it. Let me get that right. They're not going, I'm an energy thief, I'm going to go around and thieve energy. They're just doing it on a program. So when you go on the wealth activation system, you're going to start to see what other people are suffering. When people come to me and they say, look, why do you want to change society? Why is it that isn't society a fantastic place as it is? There's all this opportunity for everybody, all these sorts of things. And really what they're buying into is what society is selling. And they're saying it's good enough as it is. Well, that's not really where I am. I would think it would be a lot better if people didn't come to me with the problems that they come to me with, that have been created by their experience in society. If we didn't have any of that and everybody started from a positive base that was moving forward and that was trying to get them somewhere, and we weren't constantly being attacked by people saying things that influenced us in the wrong direction or theft energy, stole energy from us, that would be a better society, and a society that was a more honest one. I mean, even these days, people are losing faith with politicians, whereas if you go back 40 years, they were up there and no one knew them. No one knew they were shagging their secretary and doing all the things they were saying, no, you've got to be a good boy or a good girl and follow society. These days, we're sort of open to it all the time, and these people are almost like laughing stocks to a certain degree, but we still go, oh, I'll vote for him. There's nothing wrong with voting for them, but they are humans like us. They're not perfection, and they go into a mechanism. And even some people I know, they've gone into government in the UK and they've gone with brilliant ideas and lots of enthusiasm to change the way society is, to give people more opportunity, to give people more healthcare, and then suddenly enter into a system that doesn't want to change, and it doesn't want to change because it's happy with the way it is, and that feeds all the way down to people. And just looking at it, if you look at it, logically, if you take the typical government systems that we currently have, you put someone in place there, a government for 4 years, and then the people vote them out or keep them in. Now, if I was running a company with like that, and where the management was, and I'll tell you this, when I was running companies, I didn't tell all the staff how serious situations were, or how bad they were, or why we had to make this decision or that decision. They were, to a certain degree, kept like mushrooms in the dark, because you couldn't function without that happening. So I was employing the same strategy. And that's pretty well how most business owners do, because otherwise your employees, you think your employees are going to lose faith in you and go off. But the funny thing is, when the first time I did this, I sat down with, about 30 employees, and we had no money. We'd been completely hammered by another company that had closed down other offices. And we had nothing. Absolutely nothing to pay the wages with, and it was a big, huge bill, and I couldn't see that I would have anything to pay the wages with for a while, and I owed them from the previous 2 weeks. And I sat down with them and I said, look, this is the situation. This is where we are. These people want you to go and work for them. They've cut off our funding line to a certain degree. They've tried to move, I won't go into the details of it, and I can't pay you. It's as simple as that. I mean, you can have the choice to go and work for those people, or you can look at it, whether that's right or wrong, and maybe support us and go through with this. I will endeavour my best effort to try to secure us another contract over the next 2 weeks, and get us all paid and get us moving again. And they, to a man, said, thanks for your honesty, we're behind you every step of the way. That was a lesson, this mushroom in the dark thing. I think that's us being egotistical to a certain degree and going, we need to make the decisions because you lot aren't capable of really facing the truth. And I was at that moment, I'd been up until that point conditioned to believe that was the way to manage a business. I made a lot of mistakes, there's no two ways about it. But society's like that, and it keeps us. So coming back to the point, can you make sense of this? It's the fact that in every 4 years, the people that are the mushrooms kept in the cupboard in the dark about all the decisions, what's going on, are asked to vote for the people that made the decisions as to whether they were good or bad decisions. It doesn't make sense. How does it make sense to get anywhere if that was the case? So what you start to see is that this government system is just an illusion. It's just people that are put there to make decisions that are being controlled from another course, because it's like a middle management that everybody looks up to and blames, because what really happened, and someone twigged on this a long time ago, years ago in the royal situation, is they realised that if you stick like a king on there and the people get pissed off, they go and cut the king's head off. So where exactly do you want to be in a position of power? Do you want to be the person that gets the head cut off, or do you want a person just below that goes, Mr. King, would you mind doing that? And because he's taking all the risk. And ultimately that's been massaged into a number of different other ways. So the people that make decisions have this situation where the people can blame somebody. It's a blame society, and therefore, oh, get out, we want them in. And you've only got two choices. You've got Conservative or you've got Labour. And you've got other things coming up, but they'll never get in. And you can, even if they do, they still have to adopt the same hierarchy again, the same power structure. So you always have the same thing. After a while, you get bored with it. You go, there's got to be a better way. There is. Fundamentally, there is. And if I go back to that position where I talked about mushrooms, once you start to explain to the people what is the benefits of something and say, look, do you want to make this choice? It's up to you. This is the reality. How do you see us doing it? And funny enough, they go where all humans go, and that is the right way. Because it's there, it always is. It's for all of us. We always make the right decision given the right environment. And the right environment is the one that we can create through the wealth activation system. It's an environment where we make the right decisions because it's for the benefit of all. And really, I come back to that pyramid. Society is based around a pyramid. You have those at the top and those all the way down to the bottom. And the wealth is distributed between, if you take America, I think 40% of the wealth is within, I don't know, the top few percent of the whole of America. And then there's a huge amount that have absolutely nothing. I'm not talking about wealth redistribution, I'm talking about communism or anything like that. I'm just talking about maybe an alternative system where we share knowledge and we help each other rather than going, I want to be at the top, lording it over everybody else. And that's what the wealth activation system is designed to do. But it only works if you support it and you take it on board and retrain your mind and get the conditioning out and start to see success that you can achieve, and you can work with other people and get there and have a lot of fun. It's not about politics, it's not about power, it's about being who you really should be. It's about being human and knowing that we're all universal and in unity. And once we're in that position where we're thinking together, do you know, I've got this real intuition, and I can only put it down to intuition because I don't have all the answers. I believe all the answers to everybody's problems will come from us working together and creating and connecting our creative subconsciouses, and I believe it can happen. I really do. I believe we're all dulled down at the moment, and we either have the choice to remain suppressed or start to become what we were designed to be. That's really it. So look, I'll see you in the next video. That's that bit of training done. We'll move on with getting back to making money for you.